centuries, there's been one story that's captured our imagination like pretty much nothing else. A magnificent, impossibly advanced island civilization that just vanished, gone, beneath the waves in a single day. You know what I'm talking about. This is the legend of Atlantis. But is it just a legend, or is there something more to it? Well, today we're gonna dive in and try to separate the story from the science. And it all starts right here, with this guy, the Greek philosopher Plato. Way back around 360 BC, he wrote these dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, and just casually dropped this bombshell on the world, the very first mention of a lost continent. And just like that, he sparked a mystery that people have been obsessed with for millennia. So, what exactly did Plato say he saw? You know, he wasn't just talking about some small city. He was painting this picture of a full-blown empire, a kind of utopian paradise that eventually became a massive cautionary tale. The scale of what Plato described is, well, it's just staggering. I mean, he painted this incredibly vivid picture of a huge island, home to over 20 million people. Its ruler? A demigod named Atlas, who was revered as the pillar of the sky. He described these incredible cities filled with shimmering marble and huge pyramid-like buildings. And they were sophisticated too. He talks about this complex network of canals for irrigating the whole land, and even details their most sacred ritual, a bull sacrifice, where the blood would wash over their temples. So according to Plato, the Atlanteans started out as this perfect society, built on really noble human qualities. But here's the turn. As their power and wealth grew, so did their greed and their ambition. They kind of lost their way, and they started launching these massive military campaigns to conquer Athens and pretty much everyone else in the Mediterranean. And this is the key part. This wasn't just a story about a random natural disaster, it was a moral lesson. The Atlanteans' arrogance, their hubris, had angered the gods. And so Zeus himself decided to punish them. He sent this cataclysm that Plato describes as one terrible day and night of earthquakes and floods. The great island of Atlantis sank beneath the waves, vanishing forever. It left the ocean, in Plato's words, an impassable and unsearchable place. Now, Plato's story was just so compelling that for centuries, people have refused to believe it's, well, just a story. And that has sparked this massive global hunt, a quest to find the actual physical location of this lost empire. And it has led to a whole world of really fascinating theories. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If Atlantis was real, where in the world was it? The theories are, let me tell you, as vast and as deep as the ocean itself. All right, so let's break down the top 4 candidates. The most literal theory puts Atlantis right in the Atlantic Ocean because Plato said it was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we call the Strait of Gibraltar. The problem? Modern plate tectonics is pretty clear there's no sunken continent there. Then you've got Santorini, the Greek island that had a real, massive volcanic eruption that devastated the Minoan civilization. Sounds promising, right? But the dates don't quite line up. Some people point to ancient Spain, which was a wealthy civilization near Gibraltar. But again, archaeologists haven't found a shred of proof of a big war or a cataclysm. And finally, the Richat structure in Mauritania, the Eye of the Sahara. It has this cool concentric look, kind of like Plato's city, but it's a known natural geological formation, not man-made ruins. Okay, so after all this searching and all this theorizing, what does modern science actually have to say about all this? Well, this is where the story takes a very, very different turn. When you put the myth up against reality, it starts to crumble. Plato claimed a continent sank in the Atlantic. Geology says, nope, that's impossible. He described this huge, advanced Bronze Age empire, yet archaeology has found 0, and I mean 0, artifacts or ruins that match his description, not anywhere in the world. He even talked about this ancient Athens that fought off Atlantis, but the version of Athens he describes just doesn't line up with the historical record of that time. And this quote from archaeologist Flint Dibble, I think it really nails it. Most academics today agree on this. Plato wasn't trying to write a history textbook. He was a philosopher, and he was using a story to make a point. So the scientific consensus is pretty clear. Atlantis was never a physical place. It was a powerful allegory, a fictional story that Plato made up to explore these big ideas about power, corruption, and divine justice. It was his way of comparing an ideal state, like his version of Athens, to a corrupt one, like Atlantis. But here's the thing. If it's just a myth, why are we still so obsessed with it? I mean, the idea of Atlantis didn't just die with the scientific verdict. In fact, you could argue it's more alive today than it has ever been. The idea of Atlantis just exploded in popular culture. It's become this amazing canvas for us to tell our own stories. Jules Verne took Captain Nemo to its ruins. Disney reimagined it as this incredible civilization powered by mystical crystals. And of course, in the DC universe, Aquaman rules a futuristic, super high-tech underwater kingdom that's been thriving for thousands of years. So, after this whole journey, we're left with one last fascinating question. If Atlantis doesn't exist on any map, then maybe its real location isn't in the ocean at all. Maybe it's somewhere inside us. A timeless story about our own hopes for a perfect world and our deepest fears of losing it all to our own pride.